Geelong Arts Centre, located in the civic hub. It's a fairly significant precinct. Got all the civic buildings in it, so it's a very important building in terms of Geelong's growth, particularly now as Geelong and that whole area is really one of the fastest growing places in Australia. The whole project is really a combination of a vision from the 2007 master plan that the GAC, as it was then, did, and then also both the state government and City of Geelong's idea about creating this area as a precinct. And if you look there, we can't read all of those initiatives, but the initiatives to upgrade GPAC, which 40-year-old, had over 40 odd levels through it, and a building that unfortunately had kind of outlived its usefulness, even though it's been much loved. And then there's also the ongoing thing with Geelong about upgrading the streets, the lamps, and the pedestrianisation. Within the brief was a line that said that the Arts Centre wanted to be considered as a campus, and that's primarily because there's a lot of buildings on there that have all been done by different people. Not the least that the existing playhouse has actually got the old 1920s hall still embedded in it, and to read when they did the fix-up that just built over there. Hassel did stage 2. Actually, Hassel did master plan, one of the many master plans that we've done, and then we got to do stage 3. The project itself was to add 2 new theatres, a 500-seat theatre and a 250 performance space. Both of them were to be highly flexible, and the ambition from the Arts Centre was to make them into the next generation theatre spaces, which I'll cover briefly. We had to do some compliance works, given that the actual performance area in the old playhouse had a whole lot of issues about it to comply. And then later on, through advocacy, there was the upgrade of the streets. When we originally got the project, they were just to be service lanes. The streets actually was located where that word foyer was where the old Atchison place was, and we had to relocate that to adjacent to the upside down building. But a key driver in the whole scheme was the fact that the actual location is a very significant Wadawurrung area. It's a wetlands, which is why it's a park. Left as a park, fills up the water every now and again. So it's a very significant gathering place and ceremonial space in the Wadawurrung's history. And then it's also a very significant place in settled history because of the church hall and the old Masonic Hall, 1880s hall, were burnt down and then it was replaced with another hall. There's been a place of recitals and orations and whatever with Indigenous history, 40, 50,000 years, with settled history really since the mid-19th century. So it's a very significant driver of the design, that this idea about celebrating theatre, performance, music, all that sort of thing. While we were still doing what we would refer to as the block and stack, which is really just working out how the brief fits into the design, we had started discussions with the Wadawurrung and mention of Corinna Eccles, who has been fantastic. And the discussions were that we would ask them if they would participate in the theming of the building, of actually driving the proposition about what the building is. So they came up with these ideas about the levels. At the ground level, they would consider to be like ochre country and the shore. The middle level, they would consider to be as the Myrna Forest. Then there's upper level sky country and then the night sky. And they're represented by the images. These are the images they provided for us. Actually, it took quite a while to get the discussion going, but they were really fantastic at articulating the narrative that they wanted to see in the building. As the program progressed, we also worked with them to commission a series of artists to work with us on the project. So in some instances, we worked with Wadawurrung to do design theming and design outcomes. And then we also worked with artists, Jared Black, Karen Love, Mick Ryan and Kate James to actually work on the fabric of the building. This really is a summary of that work Kate James' work on the far left is just incredible. It's the exterior cladding, and her thematics are, she does tea towels, beautiful tea towels, of Pitch Australiana, but it's got treaty written on it. We had to get rid of all the swear words off it. That was, the government didn't allow us to put the swear words on. Amazing, isn't it? And then Taryn Love worked on a series of ancestral lines of patterning, which then are embedded into the theatre. That's the blue one in the middle at the bottom. Jared Black's area. He's a tattoo artist. He made this sort of motif and illuminated artwork that's in the cafe. And then we worked with the Wadawurrung to do the Moona Forest carpet, Bungel's feathers, and the Moona Forest panelling. That took quite a while, and they worked right through. And in fact, Taryn and Kate came into the office and worked with the 3D guys on the computer to actually work, because I've never worked on anything quite so big before. The other theme, the other sort of driver is the history of performance that all Australians have experienced, whether it's the theatre, whether it's the mosh pit, whether it's the boxing tent or the circus. All of those things then become sort of aspects of the design that we wanted to encapsulate. This is just one example of that with the street presence, where Kate James's work is lining that upper level. There's a history of industrialisation in Geelong. There's the organ that's dragged along by the circus. There's the French cafe and the giant curtain or tent. So the whole front of the building has been designed so that it activates the street. The foyer is actually a cafe. So when you walk in, you're actually walking through beside the area, which is the cafe. That's a steal from a London theatre that is really successful. So you don't end up with this sort of dead foyer when there's nothing on. The cafe is actually the foyer. The warehouse theatre actually opens up. We'll talk a bit more about that. And the stage door is also kind of masking what is a loading dock area, so it actually helps us make that on street more active. Oh, I'll quickly go through the spaces. You come into the cafe. Then there's the main foyer, which is, the sort of lounge room. Maybe it's the bar. There's also a gallery. The 250 Theatre, which is an unusual theatre, which, as you can see, the big door that opens up out to the street, but they use it for markets, they use it for garage band, they use all sorts of things. There are lots of studies on how that would be laid out. It's got a fantastic tech zone above it, used as also an exhibition gallery. There's a line that links. Part of the thing was to make sure that we could maintain the hassle end, which is the area where all the artists make things, into the area where they perform, and the audience can walk right through it, through street to street. So the interior spaces all mark themselves as individual spaces, the sort of funfair stair, the main foyer, the tent, the miracle of LL Joiners, who made the incredible curved timber tent. All of the spaces are rigged so they can actually, and they're full comms of data, so they can actually be used as performance spaces as well. That's very unusual, most unusual for a theatre that we've been involved in, because there is quite a bit of technology in the foyers, so they can be used for performance. The 500-seat theatre is really flexible. You can have a 800 people in there, and a mosh pit, backstage, all gender toilets. That was very controversial. So that the actual where you wash your hands is a public space. The link through to Hassel, and then the streets around it. The plaza, did you say I'm finished? Yeah. Plaza, streets, courtyard. We also made lots of stuff. A lot of stuff was made in Geelong. The glass, all the carpets were all made in Geelong. We had to teach Godfrey Hirst how to do specialist carpets. Going backwards, right?
Can't do that.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks.